The syllable-based nature of Chinese is closely linked to the character-based Chinese writing system, which will be discussed at greater length in the next step. In step 1, we learned about how the tone of a syllable can completely change its meaning. But since Chinese has so few base syllables to begin with, barely 300 you learned, even with tone distinctions, that only leaves us a bit over 1,000 unique syllables. This means that Chinese is very rich in homophones, words that sound the same but have different meanings. So, for example, 是 could mean to be, to try, room, matter, clan, road, and many other things. However, each of these meanings has its own corresponding character. They are all simply homophones, not the same word. Okay, you may be thinking, that clears up any potential confusion in written Chinese. But what about spoken Chinese? Won't all those homophones lead to confusion? The answer is not really. There are a few reasons why the common nature of homophones in Chinese doesn't interfere with the clarity of the spoken language. Number 1, the power of context, which you will come appreciate naturally as you hear Chinese spoken more and practice it yourself. Sure, a word could theoretically have several meanings, but it's usually pretty clear given the circumstances of your conversation which meaning is intended. Number 2, the importance of word order. In this regard, Chinese is actually quite similar to English in that the grammatical structure of a sentence depends in part on the sequence of the words. We would completely change the meaning of the English sentence. The dog bit the man if we reversed the order of dog and man to yield the man bit the dog. Word order has the same significance in Chinese. Number 3, even though the core of Chinese consists of individual syllables with specific meanings, many words, though not all, in modern Chinese are actually composed of 2 syllables. The core meanings of each of these 2 syllables, when combined, yield the meaning of the word as a whole. In one type of combination, the 2 characters specify different forms of information which complement one another in some way. If the word is a noun, the character combination usually takes the form of one character that indicates the core noun, which is preceded by a character that modifies the core noun to yield a more specific noun. You'll encounter many examples of this in the upcoming steps, but for now, let's take a look at a few examples of different ways that 2 characters can combine to make a word. When we want to name a language, we always use the character 1, which has the basic meaning of language, that functions as our base noun. Then we add a character in front, which modifies 1 by specifying the nationality of the language. So the word for Chinese is the character 中, meaning China, plus 1. Thus we get 中文, literally China language. What about if we wanted to say English? Well, the character for England is ing, so all we have to do is add on 1 and we end up with 英文 England language. So, in the case of language names, since the core noun used will always be one, you can generate the name of any language in a regular and consistent way by simply adding the nationality, simplifying character to the front. Think about how much harder it is in English, with different languages using different suffixes like ese or ish. Not in Chinese. There are no irregular forms because the basic syllable building blocks can never change. Here is another interesting example of a word that consists of a root noun modified by another character in a very rational way. 电脑 is the word for computer. The first character, 电, means electric, and the second character, 脑, functions as the core noun here and means brain. And when you think about it, what is a computer? An electric brain. Take another example, 饮料, meaning beverage. It is composed of the character 饮, meaning drink, and the character 料, meaning material or food stuff. And that's what a beverage is, right? Drinking material. As you encounter more and more Chinese words, you will become very familiar with the patterns of word formation, and you will find yourself appreciating the beauty and intuitiveness of the ways that characters can combine to form new words.